Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Or welcome, because this is probably the first video or second serious video that I uploaded, and it's my first book related video. So I'm really excited about that. I've been going back and forth thinking about starting to post booktube videos and then talk about my books on YouTube, because I talk about it all the time in booktok, but I don't know, I just kind of like the feeling of talking in a longer lengths of time, longer periods of time about the books in detail. And I don't know, I feel like I can't stop thinking about it, so it's a sign for me to actually just do it and just start posting about books here. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about like a little mid-year recap and talk about the books that I've read in 2023 so far. So I want to start off by saying that I haven't been reading as much as I wanted to, because I literally put my Goodreads reading challenge to 80 books this year, which is 10 books more than last year, and I'm like 28 books behind. Like, it's quite embarrassing. It's because this year was my senior year. It was my last year of high school. I took the IB, and it was quite literally hell, so I didn't have much time to read. But now that I'm in my summer after high school, basically, I definitely have more time to read now. And I am trying to, and I have been reading, but I just haven't been reading any time else this year. So, I mean, like, I have, but not as much. That's why I only have, well, not only, it's quite a lot, but I have 13 books to talk about. But yeah, let's just get started. The first book I finished in 2023, I probably started in 2022, but I finished it in 2023. And it is The Song of Achilles. I know, like, this is kind of a late read. Like, everyone and their mothers have read it, but I just finished reading it this year. I am late, but I understand the hype. I understand why everybody loves this. Rated it a 5-star, obviously, because I was so enthralled by Achilles and Patroclus' story and how it's written and the ending, and it's just so heartbreaking. And I remember crying, and I cried after reading it, like days after I finished reading it. I continued to think about the book and think about Achilles and Patroclus and their tragedy, and then I went into a full-on deep dive onto their story, like their Greek mythology. That's how much this book affected me. Like, I love it so much, and if you haven't read it, what are you doing? You have to read it if you are in any sort of way a bookworm within these past few years, because people have been talking about it. So yeah, moving on, I read These Violent Delights. Finally, I have been putting off reading this for like since I bought it in 2021. I bought this book and I have not read it in 2022, and I finally read it in 2023, and it was such a good idea. It was such a great decision. I rated this a 5-star. Basically, it is a story, like a sort of a historical fiction story, also fantasy, set in 1920s Shanghai. And I took IB history, so one of my case studies were China and like the rise of communism, etc. And it talks about that here as well, so it's part of the setting, but it's not fully focused on that. So if you're not a history geek like I am, like, you're gonna enjoy it. And oh my god, I love this book so much. I love how it was written. I love Roma and Juliet. Roman Montague. God, I'm obsessed with him. Like, I have an obsession with Roman Montague. And Juliet Kai herself, like, I wanted to be her so badly. Like, she's so badass and she's so great. With Roma, like, their chemistry, their tragic story as well. Like, it is a Romeo and Juliet retelling, if you couldn't tell by their names. I feel like I enjoy it better than the actual Romeo and Juliet plotline. It has so much depth. It's like the trope is like the friends string. Okay. So, ooh, their relationship is complicated because they're basically like, they were friends they come from two different like opposite sides, like so they're enemies, their families are enemies, but they started off as friends, and then they grew apart. Friends to lovers, and then something happened, they fell apart, and they turned to enemies. So they're star-crossed lovers, turned enemies, turned like friends of convenience, allies of convenience, turned back to lovers. And oh, it's so good. It's so, and the thing is about this book, like it's as if you're watching a movie while reading. Like the way Chloe Gong describes scenes and describes situations, it's like you're living in it. It's like you're watching it on screen. That's how great the writing is and how much I love this book. Okay, and I've talked for way too long on this book particularly, and I'm moving on to the sequel, Our Violent Ends, and I rated this a 5-star as well. I absolutely loved this book. Like, this one took me less time to get into, obviously because it's the sequel. There wasn't much world building anymore, and this was such a great ending to their story. You know, okay, I'm not gonna say anything, but I know that she's going to publish a book about them soon. Yeah, this book honestly closed off this particular duology well, and I love Romeo and Juliet. That's all I'm gonna say. And I love their oh, and I also love like the other love interests in this book. Basically Roma's cousin and this other guy. I forgot their names. I'm sorry, it's been a while, it's been months, but I love their relationship as well. And I love the other characters, and I love the story in general. I love the world, and I highly recommend 5 stars. After reading 2 really good, very intense fantasy romance reads, I moved on to Twisted Love, which is a complete 180. It's about a group of college girls. This book in particular talks about what's her name? Ava Chen and Alex Volkov, and I know a lot of people know about this book already, and there have been mixed reviews, but I'm part of the people who actually enjoyed reading this. Like, yes, Alex could be a complicated character, a complex character, morally gray with a lot of questionable actions, but I didn't hate it. Like, I didn't hate him and Ava. I thought they were cute, and I know that they're cuter in other books, so I'm excited to continue this series. But I rated this a 4-star. I was intrigued, I was hooked, I kept reading it. Like, it didn't put me in a slump. It made me want to continue. And yeah, if you want just a light, well, it's not really light, but like it's steamy, it's a romance, it's funny at times, it's college, you know, then you should pick it up. And then I took a break from romance, not even just romance, just like I took a break from pure romance to, again, something more action-packed, and I read the last 3 books in the Shatter Me series. Oh my god, I love the Shatter Me series so badly. You know how much it is hyped in the book world, and it deserves it, because I'm absolutely in love with Juliet and Warner, but I'm also in love with Kenji and Kenji's relationship with Azira. Like, I love all of them. Like, I love their friendship, I love their world. Oh, hold on, I don't love the dystopian government. No, I do not like that, but I don't support it. But I love, like, when I read it, it's like saying hi to my family, you know? Like, it's like visiting my family. It's like whenever I didn't read it, like, I wanted to go back into the world, and I wanted to read more about Juliet and Warner. I wanted to read more about Kenji. I want to read more about them. But yeah, I finally finished it. I succumbed to myself and I bought the remaining 3 books, because I read the first 3 books earlier on in 2022, and then I took a break, and then I finished the series. And okay, that speaking, I didn't rate all of this 5 stars. I rated Restore Me a 4-star, Defy Me 5 stars, and Imagine Me 4 stars. The reason why not all of them were my favorites is because some of them were quite focused on, like, it was quite dragged along, like it was really dragged out in some, and I don't know, I was kind of bored in some of the scenes in Restore Me and Imagine Me, and I just feel like the action was really great in Defy Me the most, and Imagine Me was more of like so much resolving conflict. Like, I don't know, like I just didn't enjoy reading it as much as I did for example Ignite Me and currently Defy Me. I'm glad I finally read the Shatter Me series, and that I understand whenever people talk about it, because it's not even just books, it's not even just a series, it's a cultural reset. Sorry, that was disgusting, but it was like, it's a lifestyle, it is a moment in your book reading journey. So yeah, that's the Shatter Me series. Then after finishing that series, I finished the Inheritance Game series, sorry. And I finally read the final book, The Final Gambit, and I read it kind of late. It came out last year, and I got it for my birthday on October, and I started reading it this year. But I am one of the people who loved this book. I rated it a 5-star, although I think it's not as good as the first book or even the second book. Those two I really love. I think this one was a pretty good ending to everything. And I'm a Jameson girly, so I really enjoyed the ending. But it's one of those love triangles where both Jameson and Grayson are great, and I didn't mind. Well, maybe I do mind a little if she ended up with Grayson, but I understand the Grayson girlies, so do not come at me if you are a Grayson girly. I understand and I salute you, but I just love Jameson and Avery together, and I want Grayson for himself, like for myself. So yeah, this was a great ending in my opinion. Oh, that might be a little spoiler, but it has been out for a while. But yeah, I highly recommend this series in particular. Like, the entire series is a 5-star series for me, and this book, I rated a 5-star, and I remember liking it, and I remember getting through it fast, so it's a really fast read. Next, I continued the Twisted series, and I read Twisted Games, because I know this was like everyone's favorite. Bridget and Reese are like everyone's favorite couple from the Twisted series, and I finally read it, and I understand, but it didn't really reach my 5-star expectations that I thought I was gonna have, because I don't know, like a few moments in the pages, like it was really like I was kind of out of it. I don't know, maybe it's because I was reading it in like a time where I was kind of busy. I don't know, wasn't the vibes, but I rated it a 4-star because it's genuinely a good book and genuinely a good trope. Like, I love the bodyguard princess trope, like girl, sign me up. But I don't know, like I kind of expected more of the way people really hyped it up, but they're definitely one of my favorite couples in the series now, and I'm excited to read about them in the other books and read about the other couples as well. So I rated this a 4-star, pretty solid for me. And then I finished my IB exams, and I was in a period of time where I was waiting to graduate. Like, I'm done with school, and then I'm about to graduate soon. I'm about to have prom, and I know that that was the perfect time to read this book, Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Like, I posted about it on TikTok, emphasizing how it is perfect to read if you're like a fresh high school graduate who hasn't graduated, like hasn't gone through the ceremony yet, or has. It literally doesn't matter, but it's just good to read at this time of my life. And I love when I read something that really resonates with where I am in real life, and I can relate to an extreme extent. And it was this book, and I rated it a 5-star because of that, and I went through it so quickly. It was so fun to read, and I absolutely related to the girl, to the main character so much. And I love her love story with Rowan and Neil. Like, I love their love story, and it just gives me so much good high school vibes that I desperately needed now when I was like fresh off the test room. Like, I was finally done with school and I wanted to reminisce. So it was perfect. It was perfect book, perfect timing, perfect situation. Hence the 5 stars. And then I was kind of on a roll. Like, these are good books that I've been reading. And I read The Do-Over. I did rate it a 5-star, but I finished it in one sitting and I was kind of rushing through it. So looking back, I think I should dial it down and put it at a 4 because it was a great book, but does it compare to my 5-star reads? I don't know. Like, it was great, but not life-changing. So it is a good, fun, light romance read that I highly recommend. And I love Lynn Painter, obviously. I loved Better Than the Movies, and I enjoyed this book thoroughly. But I just feel like giving it a 5-star is like, you know, like Achilles compared to this. Like, I don't know, it's more of a 4 stars now. I'm gonna change it in my Goodreads, but yeah, this is a 4-star book, solid 4-star book. I read it in one night. Like, I stayed up reading it and it was perfect at that time. I was in a really light romance mood and this was perfect. And then I didn't read for like a month because June was a hectic month, and I brought this book with me to my senior trip to Bali. And I ended up not reading it a lot in Bali because I was so busy, but I read it in the plane, I read it on the plane back, and I also read it on the plane to Singapore right after Bali. And I finished it when I was home. So I did enjoy this book, but maybe it was my fault for reading it in like periods of time, like long periods of times, and like pausing it, not reading it for a week. Maybe that was why. But the middle areas, like the conflict, the love story kind of fell short for me, and I was kind of excited for the ending because people were crying. People cried after reading this book. I didn't really cry. I didn't cry at all, and I was kind of disappointed in that. I was waiting for this like big plot twist, and I was waiting to be sad, but I wasn't sad. So I don't know why this Emily Henry book fell short to me. Fell short with me like this time because I love her books. She is a must buy, like an instant buy author. I loved You and Me on Vacation / People We Meet on Vacation. I loved Beach Read as well. I loved Book Lovers that other people didn't even like some people have mixed opinions on it. But this one, I don't know. I feel like it didn't meet my expectations, but to be fair, I had really high expectations because people were talking about it everywhere. But yeah, I gave this a 4-star, which is still not bad at all. But yeah, it wasn't like a 5-star, not life-changing. Yeah. The last book that I have so far is Foul Lady Fortune. See, the thing is, I was in the middle of this book and I really needed something with more at risk, more action-packed, more stakes at hand. And so I needed a fantasy in the middle of summer. Yes, I usually save fantasies for like autumn, winter, but I was like in the mood for fantasy, so I picked this book up because I really missed Chloe Gong's world, like her world building, her it's set in 1930s Shanghai now, and I missed the characters and I missed reading about that world. So I read it and I loved it. I rated it a 5-star. It was perfectly paced, perfectly written. I love Rosalind, even though I didn't really like her in the first 2 books, the These Violent Delights series, the duology. I love her here. She had a great redemption, and I love her and Orion. Oh my god, guys, you guys have to read this. Like, oh my god, the tropes. It's like there's the that's my wife trope. Like, they're like in a marriage of convenience. They're like fake married. They're spies. Stakes are at hand. Like, oh, I love it so much. So yeah, I rated this a 5-star. Definitely recommend. I'm currently reading The Stolen Heir, which is the spin-off duology from Cruel Prince. And you know how I feel about Cruel Prince. I love them so much. Like, I love Cruel Prince so much, and I love Jude and Carden. And I know that this one isn't about them, and I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm enjoying Ren and Oak. It took me a while to adjust to imagining Oak as not a baby, but I adjusted, and I'm practically almost done. I just need a few more pages. I need like 2 more chapters until I'm finished, and I thoroughly enjoy it, and I will talk about it more later once I actually finish reading it. But that is all for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and I am sick. I feel like I should have said that in the beginning. That's why my voice is like this. But I want to make more book videos, and I'm done with school, so I'm no longer embarrassed to post on YouTube anymore. Like, that was kind of what held me back. Like, I was embarrassed, but it's better late than never. Like, I have to do what I want to do, especially now that I'm practically jobless for a few months. But yeah, thank you for watching. These are all of the books that I read so far. I hope you found some good ones to pick up, hopefully, and I'll see you guys in the next one.